My name's Chris Royalty. I am a husband, a dad, pastor, and I'm a business owner. And my business is called Hot Rod Arcade. Hot Rod Arcade was developed out of us starting a new church many years ago. I worked with teenagers for years. When I was working with teenagers as a youth pastor, I started collecting classic arcade games to have in our youth room for kids to play after school and just hang out on free play and just have a safe place for kids to hang out.
We'll go in here to the main shop, and I think a few of his guys are actually working right now. So let's get him a quick shot to them.
So this is one of our projects we're working on right now. This is in a way, it was a project that someone kind of started. They really hadn't started. They just collected a lot of the stuff for it, and then we bought it. It was a restoration friend of mine that needed to move his family, and he asked me to come buy out all of his restoration projects. This was one of those. He had the new playfield. He had the really junky cabinet with the junky playfield and all that in it. It's all pretty rough. But folks in the hobby really love pinball. When they do restorations, they really love like a clear-coated playfield. And the clear coat is what it sounds like. It's paint. It's clear coat, automotive clear, put over top of playfield, and what that does is it levels out everything on the playfield. Where it has plastic inserts, you can feel those with your finger. Well, the ball hits those things as bumps as it's going along, and so the idea to a lot of pinball guys for the flawless play of a pinball is to have one that has a clear-coated playfield. This is a parts playfield I just happen to have. I collect a lot of parts playfields so that we can take parts when we need them from playfields instead of having to order everything under the sun every time we need something. And then in moments like this, it's even better because we're restoring the whole game. But you kind of get an idea. Like, so here's the old cabinet, there's the new cabinet. We're gonna go ahead and plate a lot of the metal from the playfield. Of course, we'll put chrome trim on it as well. This is trim that he had put on it before we owned it. We'll take that off, take the stainless off, and put chrome on it, because why not? That's what we do. A box of rusty metal parts, will eventually be beautiful chrome, parts. Under the mezzanine here is where our guys do most of the work on the games. We try to keep and limit the work of the pins to here and not be getting out there, because we're again going to be using the main floor of this for events in the future, in the very near future. Yeah. This is one of those games that we've been in the middle of that also is clear-coated NOS playfield, actually an old Williams playfield that was never in a game, that has been clear-coated, and it has all new ramps. We plated almost all the metal. We've actually realized we've got several metal pieces in here that got missed. They were missing when we were putting this back together, because when we got this, it was in boxes. And so some stuff got put on for testing, and we'll pull some of that to be chromed. The boards have already been repaired. But every little nook and cranny of this thing is going to be like a brand new machine, or better. And same thing, it still has stainless trim on it. We'll put chrome trim on it when we get done with it. This is here's some of our EMs being worked on. Here's a Pirate Gold. I've never seen this game before. Someone did a fantastic paint job on the cabinet. Not really, being sarcastic.
It's like George Washington Day played this one.
Yeah, it's very patriotic here on the front and sides for some reason, which seems to be kind of the opposite of what I would think with the whole pirate theme, but that's okay.
Right.
This is one of those games that, like, sometimes we get something and I'm like, I don't know if we should be doing this or not. This game was, when I say it was full of acorns, to say it was full would be a lie. They were probably only halfway high in it. but it had so many acorns and so much dirt and so much mess. I mean, you look inside here right now and you can tell this thing was nasty. It's still nasty. And to be honest with you, this is a game that I would have immediately said, yeah, that's parts. Let's pull the play field. The back glass is flaking. All of this. Let's if it was mine, but this belongs to a family, and this has been a part of their family for a long time. And so I spent some time discussing this with the family, and it was determined that they just would really like to be able to play it. They don't care what it looks like. I said, well, we got to care a little bit. We got to make the playfield playable and whatnot. And so anyway, our guys have been working through this thing. It's a small nightmare in and of itself, but here's the playfield to it out of the game. And again, you can just see, especially these parts where critters probably were living and stuff, you know, underneath things that you don't see on there right now. Some of that will be hidden. But you know, we do full tear downs on these, and then, you know, we have to turn around and repair and make sure everything's fully functioning on the back. You can already see we've replaced some coils on this. The coil, some of the coils were just bad, locked up, and so our goal is not to restore a game like this. Our goal is to make it functional for them to play it, and so that's what we're working on. Yet another machine that belongs to a customer who's actually an old friend of mine, and this game belonged to his dad, and his dad left him this game. And he has owned this game for apparently years and years. He's on and off for years. Mentioned that he had this game, but has never, he hasn't played it, I'm going to guess, since he was a kid. And so we're in the process of getting it back going, and this, I think this is a nice little game. This will be a great little game when we get it all done. And you know, playfield doesn't look all that bad. In fact, it's really pretty. I love the art and the colors of these games from the 60s, especially. I just think they're just beautiful. You know, the artistry that went into, you know, drawing and designing these things, to me, is a big part of it, and honestly part of what makes me proud that we get to work on too. So fast forward to today, and our business is kind of made up of different things now. We have three guys that work for us, and we actually work to fix games. Not only do we fix games to sell, we also fix games to have here in what is now our shop. We have a shop game room. The shop game room was originally meant to just be a showroom for games that we would sell. And then as we were continuing to build the shop and develop the ideas of how to use the shop the best, one of the ideas that came about was, if we're going to have this game room setting here, why not have you know, all this stuff where people can play it. But I don't really want to open up an arcade. That really wasn't my intention. But I thought, you know, what if we were able to do it for private events? And so people could rent a private arcade, and then in time, our hope is that even the main floor of the shop can be rented for events, and people can have their company Christmas parties here or whatever it may be, and we've got sound systems and all that kind of stuff. And we have lots of parts, rubbers, LEDs, light bulbs, capacitors, transistors, chips, all kinds of stuff, potentiometers, RAM, I mean, you name it. If an operator ever had one of these things and it comes across my way as for sale, usually they're fairly cheap. I usually buy them. And so I've got several guys around the country that they do a lot of hauling machines and buying people like that out, and when they see this stuff, they know I'm a sucker for it, so they just bring it straight here. This is, well, here's kind of cool. This is our manuals. This whole cabinet is full of manuals. So here's the Hulk manual right here.
But so it's for the game itself.
That's for that game itself.
Wow.
And you know, these manuals, if they're good manuals, they'll show you schematics of how everything works and what's connected to what. This is actually not as in depth and elaborate as a lot of them. So yeah, here's an arcade manual to a zookeeper. We have a zookeeper there in the game room, you know, but same idea. You know, it gives you all this information that's very important to understand, you know, what kind of voltage regulator was used in spot U3 on the power supply board, you know, So it's, you know, and then if you're working on that board and you need the schematics, again, you know, there's your power supply schematic right there.
Huh.
And so, you know, when you know the language and you understand the parts and you know something's not correct, you know, that stuff's very valuable information. A lot of this stuff is available online where you can just look at it. The truth is, most people working on this stuff, they really want to have the manual, especially pinball guys. They really want to have the manual in their hands to be able to flip through, look at, instead of scrolling it on an iPad or whatever.
Right.
We have collected manuals far and wide, and we sell manuals online to people looking for manuals. So we have lots of manuals on the HotRodArcade.com site. We have a lot to put on the site that are not on the site yet too. So now we're into the plating. This is the pinballplating.com area, if you will. We're doing a lot of fixing games for other people these days now too. We will fix arcades, classic arcades, but also pinballs. Pinball's really our specialty. And then even in that, I think we probably have the specialty of being probably one of the only people around, some of the only people around that will touch and repair the early electromechanical games. That's the games that you're seeing that have the reels for the scoring. Those are the older games. Those stopped being made in 76, 77, but basically all the pinballs that you see before that are electromechanical, meaning they don't have motherboards and that sort of thing. And so, kind of a lost and dying art. Not many people working on that stuff these days, but we do. This is all lock bars that go on the front of a pinball machine, so yeah. We don't just do chrome, but we do brass, and this is copper, you know, so that's a wide body copper lock bar for a WPC machine, so like Twilight Zone or Indiana Jones, you know. And so, and of course, we're not just going to have that piece, we're going to have all of the pieces. We're going to have legs, we're going to have side rails. Here's side rails for WPC and copper. You know, we're going to have, of course, chrome, brass. Here's a stern. For the stern machines, we have the lollipop rails. There's brass lollipop rails for the stern. So if you want the gold finish on your Lord of the Rings or Iron Maiden or something like that, that's what that stuff's for. You know, sets of legs down here at the bottom. Again, we have that stuff in chrome, brass, black nickel, copper. We do a lot of aprons. As you see, you know, on the bottoms of the play fields, there's a brass apron for. Who knows? That looks like a stern apron to me. Those are probably the hardest pieces of all that we do to identify. Ramps, wire forms, as we call them. Some people call them habit trails. I hate that term for some reason. But wire forms, we keep those already ready to go. There's your Indiana Jones we've already talked about. You know, send us your set. We send back a set that's already done. You know, we've got, I think we're a little over 100 different titles now. One of the things that we do is we do coin doors. We do a lot of coin doors. People would never believe how many coin doors we do. It has gotten to where I'll buy a pallet of coin doors, and by the time I get the pallet here, we may have them all pre-sold in different platings.
Is it just because it's harder to find, or just
people just want to bling their machines? And it's funny because it ebbs and flows, and like I won't sell a coin door for, you know, a few weeks, and all of a sudden everybody wants one, you know. And so we put them on a list a lot of times, and they have to wait it out, and that's fine with me. I know it kind of drives everybody else nuts sometimes, but it's just the way it is. I can't make them, you know, that like these doors in particular. This is a WPC door, WPC 95 door, obviously in chrome. This is what we call a 9-piece door. There are 9 pieces to this door. This bezel, 2 of these bezels, 2 of these little flaps in here for the coin return, 2 knockouts, all have to be plated individually, but we get the door all together, so we have to take it apart, bag the parts, then plate all the pieces. Some pieces end up, you know, having issues. We might have to take something back, whatever. Then again, eventually, once we've got good pieces, we can put together a door. Then we pack it, we put it in a box, it goes to the shelf, and we have coin doors to sell.
Sweet.
And so it's a process, but they're not cheap. You know, the doors, even just to buy them now, have gone up a lot too. So
right.
But you can see, again, a lot of the gun shooters that we have, other parts that we've try to have available for people. And then every once in a while we get a little silly, and so I say, hey, I wonder what it would look like to chrome plate an Operation Wolf gun, and that's what that is. So I just did that for my own, just wanting to see what it looked like. But yeah.
You want to go upstairs and we'll kind of look over some of your upper machines?
Got a lot of projects over here. Third facet these days of Hot Rod Arcade is we have taken on a location here in Nashville, over in East Nashville, called Eastside Bowl. And Eastside Bowl is a music venue, so it's got a full-blown diner. Of course, it's got bowling. They have 3 bars in Eastside. The game room happens to have all of our machines in there. Lots of pinballs, lots of classic arcades, our two specialties. Which is why they asked us to help with that. Not something I was looking to do, but something we've ended up doing, and we're enjoying it. And we try to do our best to have the best running, cleanest machines around. We try to have nice stuff there for everybody to play.
So we've made our way upstairs. What do you call this?
Well, this end over here is the mezzanine.
Okay.
We kind of have the mezzanine area and the above the game room area. Above the game room area may eventually be a living space. We'll see how that pans out. May do like a Airbnb retro theme thing where you can rent the arcade, or yeah, this is all designed to be parts. And so, if you walk kind of through, you see a lot of boards. We have a lot of pinball boards ready to go on the shelf that have already been repaired, from driver boards to CPUs to you name it.
Yeah.
This is kind of the playfield section. This is kind of what I call my salvage yard, which is great when we're working on especially that particular game. But even if it's not the same exact game, a lot of the same era games would use the same switches, same sockets, flipper assemblies, whatever it may be. Some stuff we're going to buy brand new no matter what. Flipper assemblies is a good example of that. You need a piece that you can't buy. Where are you going to get it? Well, we just walk up here and get it. Especially, and say, well, you can buy some of that stuff online. Yes, you can. But it's much cheaper for us to walk up here, clean something up, and use it than it is to spend $10 every time you want to ship some little $3 part. This is a lot of playfields. These are new playfields. Lots of control panels, lots of Tron parts, lots of Havoc parts. Certain games you just learn over time. It's a good idea to try to part them, even if they are water damaged and just junk. So this is more projects that we have upstairs. Everything from multi-cade projects to classic arcade projects. Got a couple of Sega Star Trek vectors there. Some System 1 Atari stuff, Roadrunner, Road Blasters, Candy Jones, a couple of pole positions, then our pins. We've got more pin projects up here. And I basically wanted to get this where, I could walk upstairs and be able to tell what's the condition of the back glass and the playfield for this particular game or whatever. And so over here to have spare, they don't make new ones anymore. So, I've tried to hold on to what I can, of this kind of stuff so that we have it to be able to repair arcade games as needed. You can just stop like right here and spin around and look at all of the things that you can see, and it's a bit much.
So how many years worth of collecting is this?
I guess 20 or so. Wow. We've bought a lot of warehouses out over that time, and we've liquidated most of the equipment that we've bought out of those warehouses. But every once in a while there'll be a piece here or there that I'm like, let's hold on to that, see if we can save it, fix it. I want to be able to help people everywhere from entry level to, hey, I just want to buy a pinball, or I want to buy a multi-cade, or I want to buy a Miss Pac-Man kind of thing. I want to help people like that, but also want to help people that do want to do full-blown restorations on their games, or they want a full-blown restoration done. So it's fun to get to help different people in different stages of the hobby. I enjoy that aspect of this. And I appreciate all of our customers, whether they're buying parts or they buy games or they come to Eastside. I can't thank you enough. You're helping support our family. You're helping support other people now too, which is awesome as well. And so we're just very grateful. Thank you so much.
So if you have a game and you're needing it restored, there's the website right here, pinballplating.com, just so that way you don't misspell it. He does great work. I mean, just seeing some of the work and some of the organization this guy has, it's incredible. So, pinballplating.com.
And hotrodarcade.com.
There you go. So, if you're in need of a machine, you're needing a part, if you're watching this channel because you love this hobby, or you're trying to get in this hobby, give this guy a look. He's in Nashville. And if you love Nashville, just come on down. You're probably trying to come over here.
Who doesn't love
anyways.
Nashville?
Right. Everybody comes here, so...